Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. Today is a show all about veterans. And one of my guests today for the first segment, Justin Nash. He is the organizer Till the Duty is Done. It's a supportive housing for vets. And one of the things we're going to talk about is a fantastic event coming up at Mohegan Sun on Veterans Day. VetsRock. First, let me welcome you to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell me about you as the organizer first, Till the Duty is Done. Tell me about that organization.
So my story really begins in June of 2001. And at that point, I was in the audience at commencement address at West Point. We were listening to Paul Wolfowitz give us a speech about courage and surprise. And it was an odd speech at the time. Didn't really realize how relevant it would be, especially with the surprise element about being attacked by an enemy that we don't know and so forth, etc. And a few months after that, obviously the premonitions came true, and we were attacked on our own turf. And me as a young infantry officer for a light infantry unit, I knew I'd be on the tip of the spear. Now you go back a few years, every class at West Point has a motto, and our motto was "Till duty is done." So it rhymes with your graduation year, 2001, "Till duty is done." And we really didn't know how relevant that motto would be and our rallying cry as a class, and now really as a country. And what it means to me is, yes, I served in the military. Yes, I served overseas. But that duty as a leader is not done, and it will never be done as long as there's veterans out there and people that continue to serve.
9/11 is an event that everybody can tell you exactly what they were doing and where they were when it happened, and I'm sure same for you, right?
Oh, absolutely. We were out in the woods down at Fort Benning in infantry officer basic training, and we didn't have TVs or radios or anything like that, and they had a formation, and they said anybody whose family works in or around the World Trade Center, please step out of the formation. 4 or 5 guys stepped out. We still had no idea what was going on. They came back we went back to training. They pulled us back that evening, and they said, "Gentlemen, your training is real. We're at war." What do you mean?
Who would attack the U.S.?
Well, they didn't even say that, and then they said the World Trade Centers are gone, or World Trade Center's gone. You can't even fathom that, and they showed us images that evening, and
at that point, the rest of the world already knew what was going on.
Everybody was well into it, and like I said, this was a small group of young infantry officers that we knew we'd be the tip of the spear, and because we'd be going to our unit soon, and then especially those in 82nd Airborne, 10th Mountain Division, we knew we were going.
So fast forward to now you're the organizer of Till the Duty is Done.
Correct.
And so tell me about that today.
Yes, so I saw a gap and a need for services. And what I mean by that is it's very challenging for our veterans to transition from military life and career to civilian life and career. So what I felt was necessary was to provide a stopgap or a bridge to enable our veterans to not have that very immediate transition, but to transition more slowly and in a more regimented fashion. So what we do is we provide leadership and structure, which is now absent because they're not in the military anymore, to ensure that they create a path and follow along that path, and that our squad leaders, quote unquote, mentors, they ensure that our veterans are doing the things that they're supposed to do to meet those goals.
And for a while it was tough because the VA was having its struggles. Correct. And it was very public.
Yep.
And that certainly didn't help the situation.
No, and I think that's going to continue. Our VA is, again, outside of political viewpoint, I think right. is overtasked, and I don't know if they get enough credit, because if you harken back to the Vietnam era, 50 some odd thousand men and women were killed in Vietnam, and that 50 some odd thousand is a one-time burden. It sounds very simplistic to say, but they're buried and we give them the honors. But because of the advancements of modern medicine, those men and women are now still with us. God bless. But that becomes an overtasking situation for the VA because they didn't have to care for those individuals prior. That I think they're doing a good job, and they will continue to improve. I think in Connecticut we have some of the best VA hospitals. I know that in other parts of the country it's not the same, but everybody can always improve. But we also need organizations like ours and Work Vessels for Vets and some other organizations that can help remove that burden and provide a service that the VA necessarily can't.
Aside from the VA struggles, for you specifically, what were you noticing from veterans that were coming back where there really was a need? Obviously housing, but what else specifically?
Specifically, I would say the lack of a sense of purpose. And every day that you're in the service, every day that you're training, although tiresome and boring at times, there's a reason, and it becomes a very specific reason for doing what you're doing. And then you strip that and you remove that, and it becomes this very large target to hit and to navigate and to understand. So that's, again, by providing the leadership and the direction, that sense of purpose becomes very realistic. I'll give you a perfect example. I sat with a veteran that we're helping the other day, and he wants to get back to school. But for most of us, and for me, the process was very simple. Oh, this is what I have to do. Then I work back from there as to the different steps. But when I started laying out the plan for him, okay, so when does school start? I didn't even think of that. Okay, so then what do you need to do to get to that point? And there was we identified 10 to 12 steps that he needs to take to get to the point where he's walking through the doors on the first day of school. And then, it's going and saying, okay, is this attainable to do in this time period? So, if you want to start school January 15th, do we have enough time, or do we have to look at the next milestone, which would be September?
It's funny you should mention school, because that is one of the things that I hear a lot of veterans coming back. They want to, and it goes to your point of having purpose. They want to get their degree. They want to go to college, and because that becomes the next stage of their life to get the proper training and education they need to do whatever it is they're going to do after their military career.
Correct. And a lot of those are doing that because that's what they're supposed to do. So it may not necessarily be exactly what they want to do.
What they think is what
And so that's, again, another reason for our organization, Till Duty is Done, is because there may be vets out there that might be watching or listening that don't necessarily want to go to college. They're not college material, but they have a strong desire to be a positive contributor to society. And that person may want to be an electrician or a plumber or have a CDL and work for the state, things that don't necessarily require degrees. So we're there to help them get from zero ground level to actually having steady, meaningful, and positive employment. But that's a process, and it's very cumbersome for our vets to truly navigate. So you can have a vet that comes in and is making $0, but now he's got all of this burden of rent and car payment and electricity and cable and phone, all this stuff that he has really no means to sustain. And the process to go from there through training to actually employment can be time consuming. So they need organizations like us to help to bridge that gap. That's the gap that we're looking at.
And there was a period of time, I guess you could say we're out of the recession now, but it was even tougher to try to get a job for anybody, never mind somebody coming back from serving overseas.
Absolutely, yeah. Thankfully, I think we're on the upswing of
Yeah.
that. But history repeats itself. And we're not an organization that's going to be here for a year or 5 years. We're here for the long haul, and we will inevitably get back to that point. So we do need to have, again, meaningful, sustainable employment. Like I said, history repeats itself. This is very similar to the situation with the Civilian Conservation Corps from
Tell me about that.
50 years ago.
Just to sort of refresh our memory.
Roosevelt
Yeah.
came up with the plan to basically put our young men to work. He felt that it was important for society, this was during the Depression, to get men off the street and give them meaningful employment. So the government instituted the Civilian Conservation Corps, and that was basically to set up military-type camps with structure and discipline to bring the men in, lead them, and provide them. They would then execute forestry type of projects and things that the government felt were necessary.
But it provided a service, and it was a need for it, right?
It was a service,
Yeah.
and it provided, like I said, it provided structure. So there's quotes out there, to the effect of men would truly desire to work than to not, something along those lines, and that's really what we feel is. I feel our veterans would much rather prefer to work and to earn their keep, and that's again the premise of our organization is to create the path and the goal so that the veteran can work towards that, and so we will supplement their basic needs along the way, but by them reaching their goal and meeting certain milestones, they're earning that service that we're providing them.
They want to be a useful member of society,
Yes.
but they don't want to be just handed something too. They
Exactly.
want to feel useful.
Right.
Yeah.
And that goes along with the work vessels principle, which is another organization that we're helping. They don't just give you a computer or give you tools or give you a tractor or something. They analyze your business plan to make sure that you're going to use that. And inevitably, they're helping veterans with a service that I would be interested in the report to see how many of those veterans turn around and help other veterans. And that's exactly what happened with me. I received tools that I was able to then utilize on projects to help other veterans. And I think that's probably something that they don't necessarily look at. But it would be very interesting to see, because that's the nature of veterans, is to serve and to serve others.
Before we run out of time, I want to talk about a great event that's coming up on Veterans Day. It's at Mohegan Sun. It's called VetsRock. Let's talk about that.
Right. So we talked about Till Duty is Done. And standing up that organization is very capital intensive and time intensive. So we really wanted to go out and create something that we felt could truly impact the lives of multiple veterans. And so I met with the powers that be at Mohegan, specifically Chairman Brown, who's been a strong supporter of this. And I said, wouldn't it be great if? And so that if started with, we put on a concert. And so then we planned the concert, which was a Trace Adkins highlighted show. We incorporated Dropkick Murphys, which we thought would be a great draw. And then the most patriotic rock band in the country, Madison Rising, is going to be performing as well. And they ended up saying, well, this would be great for Tony Orlando to MC. So that all came together and was great, and we felt would be a great draw. But I looked at it, I said, it's just not enough. So we need to do more. And we had the facility, so I said, let's bring services, and as many services as we possibly could, to the table under one roof to help impact the lives of our veterans. So we have now expanded to a full-day hiring fair, a full-day service expo, so it's a Veteran Service Organization expo to help our vets navigate that very fragmented service network and see the organizations that are out there that are willing and able to help. And then we also have a Supplier Diversity Summit, which is to pair veteran-owned businesses with corporate America and teach them how to do business together.
So it's a lot more than just a concert.
Oh,
you know, the job fair, the expo, you're learning stuff, maybe, you know, see what could be in your future job-wise too. And we were talking about so many great organizations and corporations that are helping either financially or just in some way. You were reading off a long list to me, and there were some big names on that list too.
Yeah, so
that's why we let you have your phone on the table here. There are so
I know.
many.
It's not because I'm texting. Yeah, we have anywhere from Pfizer to ISO New England, to Motel 6, to...
and they seem to go from all different genres of industry. You know, one's a hotel, one's a pharmaceutical, everything you can think of.
Train, you know, the HVAC company, they're looking for HVAC technicians very specifically. So if there's something that you're interested in, have an idea, it's out there, and they'll be at Mohegan Sun.
So I want you to, as we wrap up your segment, I want you to give out a website. Do you want to give the website Till Duty Is Done?
Correct.
Okay, so what is that website?
Well, so before we do that, all services that day for the VetsRock are free to veterans, spouses, and service members.
Okay.
And there are programs for all that are just mentioned. So we want spouses to come as well as existing and current service members. And all of that is free. The tickets for the show, there is a very, very, very small cost. So
because everybody's donating their time as much as possible.
So that's $29 and $49 for the tickets for the show, and that's how we're able to provide everything else for free. The website and you can find information on our organization on the website at www.tdid.org.
What is on the website for people to go and see?
So we explain the services, but we also have an events segment so you can see and have more information about VetsRock. And we have some contact forms, so if people are willing and desire to volunteer, they can sign up there as well. So it's a great spot for veterans, for people that are willing to and want and desire to support us, as well as just general information about the events.
Sounds great. Justin Nash, the organizer for Till the Duty Is Done. And don't forget about the great show, VetsRock. It was a pleasure meeting you, having you on the show, and we learned a lot today. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take a short break and come right back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay right there. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. It's all about the veterans today, and we are welcoming back a guest, the Honorable Catherine Cook, Executive Director for Work Vessels for Veterans. Welcome back to the show.
Good to be here again.
I mention honorable because I'm sorry to say that you, at one point, were a politician, so that's going to be with you forever.
I know. I used to be honorable.
Well, you are definitely honorable for what you're doing. The first thing I want you to do, that fantastic first segment with Justin Nash, he will never, kind of paint the picture that we want to paint of him and describe him, his record, and what he's done for this country. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well,
He'll be mad, but I'm going to.
I'm honored to work with Justin Nash. I mean, he was one of the first veterans that Work Vessels for Veterans helped with tools. But Justin is a graduate of West Point and went to Afghanistan, was injured, and was medically retired as a captain. What a great guy. And has experienced some of the issues returning from war that a lot of veterans have, and we're proud of his recovery, and now he's paying it forward, as we say at Work Vessels for Vets, by founding Till the Duty Is Done to do a lot of the other things for veterans that they need help with, and to help them move forward on a track to civilian life. He's one of the really good guys.
Now, we did a separate show with you on Work Vessels for Vets, but kind of recap it for us. What is that organization?
Work Vessels for Vets equips America's returning veterans with whatever tools, vessels, vehicles, computers, equipment that they need to start a business in the civilian life after they have returned from combat. We have helped now over 1,300 veterans in 48 states with about $1.3 million worth of vessels or equipment.
Wow.
It's amazing. We are the nonprofit conduit that a corporation or an individual can give to receive the tax deduction, and we give it out to a veteran who's ready to start business. And Justin was right. We provide them with a business mentor. We make sure that they have all the tools in place to succeed. And then if they need a piece of equipment, we work very hard to get that for them.
Because if you just come back, you kind of are, you're wandering. You might not know what to do. You need to be steered in a right direction and also have the wherewithal to be able to pursue whatever it is you want, right?
And quite honestly, not everybody wants to go into business for
Right.
himself, but because of the leadership skills that they've learned in the military, and honestly, about 45% of the returning veterans are rural, they want to be into agriculture or some other self-employment, and so that's how we assist them. We don't do everything for everybody. This is our little niche, and quite honestly, I have looked and looked and looked, and I can't find another nonprofit in this country that buys the stuff. A lot of them will do the business plan for them, help them work out how to become an entrepreneur. They're great programs, and we work with them. But no one really gives away a tractor. And this last summer, we gave away a $50,000 tractor to a veteran who was deployed 11 times.
Wow. Is that how much those things are going for, too, by the way?
Well, the one he needed up
It's
in
a big
Wyoming,
farm.
going
Yeah.
up the mountains for
Yeah.
his cattle ranch, he needed a big one.
Wow, that's impressive. Now, work vessels for vets, is it far-reaching all over the country, or is it regional? Or?
Work Vessels for Vet is run by 5 volunteers in Little Noank, Connecticut, a suburb of Mystic, and yet we have a reach all across the country.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Now, another reason we wanted to have you on, at least for a few minutes, is almost like, are you involved with the VetsRock
Yes,
concert
I'm
too?
I'm partnering with Till the Duty is Done and Justin's organization, and Work Vessels for Vets is organizing the Vets Expo part. Partly because of my history being the governor's executive assistant for veterans, I knew a lot of the nonprofits that were out there. So now we have over 80 nonprofits and colleges and other organizations that are there that can provide services to veterans. It's free for veterans to come. It's all day on Veterans Day. We open the doors at 11. And it goes all the way to 5 o'clock, and then you can get a bite to eat at Mohegan Sun and then go to the show. So we really hope that we'll have thousands. We already have quite a large number already signed up.
Sounds like an amazing event, and only good things can come of this. You can see this growing even the next time you do it. If this is successful, next year let's make it even bigger. More acts, more events, and just grow.
Right, and we will be attracting veterans from Connecticut, yes, but also Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New York. We see a large turnout happening here. We're going to have an amazing set of opportunities for them. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation is running the Hiring the Heroes career fair, so there will be dozens and dozens and dozens of companies. I think the last count was about 50 or 60 or 70 companies that have all signed up, the Pfizers of the world,
Right.
the Aetnas,
These are big
a
names.
lot of big companies who have signed on to that national pledge with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce to make a commitment to hire veterans. So they will be there actively looking for your resume. The expo, of course, will have the 80 or so nonprofits from companion animals all the way to how to write the resume to social things, equine therapy programs. We'll have a lot of that. We'll be there. And then there are breakout sessions that will be going on during the day. So if a family is really struggling through issues of PTSD, there will be a breakout session to help them. The Connecticut and Rhode Island marine industry are going to have a breakout session to talk about how you can translate your military skills from military work to small engine repair or fiberglass work or all the different potential jobs that are available in the marine industry in Connecticut and Rhode Island. There'll be other breakout sessions for women veterans. Are going to have a special women's health veterans breakout session. So I really hope the gals will come and enjoy and participate in what programs that will meet their needs. And then we, there's so much more happening. There's a nonprofit coming up with thousands of suits. They're called suiting warriors, and they will give suits to veterans who need them for their interviews.
That's great.
And racks and racks of
It's important
suits.
to look good when you go for your
absolutely, and it helps your confidence.
Yeah.
The Connecticut VA Department of Labor folks are going to be there, the veterans part, to help veterans learn how to make their resume, do some practice interview skills in the breakout sessions, and then be able to go into the job fair.
How can people learn more? Website?
They can learn more at Justin's website,
Which we put a graphic up for.
www.tdid.org. You can buy tickets for the show either through tdid.org, or you can go directly to Mohegan Sun, mohegansun.com/vets-rock.
Is it better for them to go through the other website, though, just so you can...
It matters not. They'll
Okay, as long as
they'll
everybody
both get you there.
participates.
And the tickets for the show, honestly, what a show.
Yeah.
Trace Atkins is the headliner. Dropkick Murphys are going to do an acoustic set. Madison Rising is just got the most stupendous rock version of the Star Spangled Banner that will knock your socks off. And then Tony Orlando, who's like the new Bob Hope. He just bleeds red, white, and blue. And yes, we'll listen to Tie a Yellow Ribbon.
Maybe he'll change the color for that one day.
But honestly, it's an amazing show. And during that show, I'm bringing my vet from Wyoming with the 11 deployments, and he's going to formally receive that tractor.
VetsRock. It's on Veterans Day. Mohegan Sun, 11/11. Be a part of it. The Honorable Catherine Cook, Executive Director for Work Vessels for Veterans. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, Sean.
That is our show for today. You can see the show and many others on our YouTube site. Till next time, I'm Sean Murphy. Take care.